Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul.
And we are SP Film Viewers.
Today's film that Sophie hasn't seen before is King of Comedy. That was my attempt at the old style of talk show music.
Is that what that was?
So I picked this one out.
Like with everything going on, it was like, right, we'll have something a bit light-hearted, but actually wasn't as light-hearted as I thought.
No, it's a bit of a dark comedy.
Yeah, it is, and it kind of shows like your mental mindset a lot. I think probably back then they didn't realise it, but it was actually showing like some form of mental illnesses.
I think that's still fairly strong, even from 1982, which is when this was made. But obviously, I know it means still a lot worse these days.
Yeah, it's made more aware and more apparent that is like mental health is an issue.
Well, I don't know so much mental health, just more like delusions that people have about being famous and.
But I think he had a bit of like, is it schizophrenia or something, where he thinks he's.
Oh yeah.
So one person, and then he's actually thinking he's something he's not. So.
Yeah, he's proper bigging himself up in his head, but he's actually not really that successful.
Yeah, there is obviously some underlying issues in his head.
And I pointed out to you, didn't I, what the similarity, if you'd noticed any similarities.
Oh, it took me a while, didn't it?
Heavily inspired by the Joker. Really, it takes a lot from it.
Wait, once you'd said that, then I could see it.
Yeah.
Where it'd come from, and then he did a laughing thing as well when he was laughing, and I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely the Joker now.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I get a little bit confused. So obviously he's waiting outside a TV show, which is Jerry.
Yeah.
Like the Jerry Show, and
Jerry Langford, yeah.
And basically, it's there's a crazy lady that's in Jerry's car, who's like obsessed with this man, and she's like half his age, so I don't understand her obsession, and he's not even that good looking, so I don't really know what the appeal is.
I don't think she was like that much age difference, really.
He looks like a middle-aged man, and she looked like she was in her 20s. I didn't see what the appeal was.
Well, just a big, like, talk show host type of thing, so it's superstardom.
It's like me fancying Jimmy Fallon.
I think a lot of people do, don't they? They kind of find him.
Well, I won't be running down the street after him, to be honest.
But different these days with that. But again, it's more of a time when, like the Beatles and stuff, when it wasn't all about, like social media and just they have like total access to everybody's, what they're doing in lives and stuff. So that you had to hunt them down and.
No, you don't, do you? You really don't. And like with the Beatles, any of them good looking? Not really. All the girls screaming and throwing the knickers at them. I really don't understand. What was it? The fame? Was it the money that was more the allure than the actual people? Must have been, because really I won't be throwing my knickers at them.
It's not all about looks,
No, but how did they know what they were like?
Interviews.
Yeah, but you can pretend to be whoever you want in an interview.
Going back to the.
Anyways, yes, sorry. So initially he looks like kind of a sane kind of character. He's like, oh, I'm not bothered about queuing up and I'm not really interested, and playing it off that he's quite cool, calm and collective to his friends, and then actually this crazy lady somewhat helps him out by being in the car.
And this is all set up so that he could have this meeting with Jerry in the car.
No, I didn't actually know that. So,
that's how that's how he, when he meets her later on, it's kind of like, oh, I did all that for you just so that you could speak to Jerry to get him the note or the money to him or whatever. So it was the whole thing, but he was really doing it for himself.
Yeah.
To get in with him.
So obviously he's wanting to be this big famous comedian.
Yeah.
He thinks he's got like this talent, and he ends up getting in the car with Jerry, and this poor man's just done his show, and then he's getting harassed by this crazy lady, and now he's got this random man in his car, and he's like just kind of trying to say anything just to appease him, really, to kind of get him off his back. And I think Rupert Pupkin,
yeah. Although that again, that's a lot of people getting his name wrong all the time.
I wanted to call him Pumpkin initially. That's what I thought it was, Rupert Pumpkin. I've never heard of Pupkin. Is
Yes.
it like a made-up name?
I'm sure there might be somebody called Pumpkin and it just offended them.
I really don't think there is.
I don't know, there could be.
Never heard of it. Anyways, he's trying to get his material to Jerry, and Jerry says, "Oh, ring my receptionist and we'll sort something out," just to shut him up, basically.
Yeah.
But obviously, because he's so gullible, he believes every word that Jerry's saying and thinks he's going to have like this big break. And this was a bit where it confused me, because then obviously once he was back home, you can kind of see his own thoughts, like a flashback into his head, so to speak, where he's like having a conversation with Jerry in a restaurant.
Well, it's not so much flashbacks, more just a delusion that he's a role he's playing out to himself. To he's in a scenario.
And this is where he's like looks a bit like he has got schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Because he's like really, really believes that this is happening. He convinces himself, I think, in these.
Oh yeah, he is. He's definitely very egotistical in that sense, and arrogant of like thinking, "Oh, this is totally happening.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to play out," and everything.
Even though he's playing it in his head, he thinks it's real.
You said that there wasn't a very obvious thing of where, if this was delusion or not, and I've seen it a couple of times now, but I kind of knew that it was, but you kind of get that feeling with, he's not sitting down with Jerry, he's just having the way that he's talking to him as if like the good pals and all that stuff. It's not really, that's not really happening. I
guess you're right, but obviously if you're just first watching it, you think, oh, well, maybe that's just fast-tracked to 2 years later and now the pally.
Yeah.
Also, there was another part later on, which I thought he was then having another dream and being delusional, was with when he met Rita and they went on a date.
Oh, yeah, I could see what you meant by, yeah.
So I thought he was actually playing that out in his head.
Because, which again, you could easily say that would be the case, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because I didn't think she would actually go out with him, to be honest.
Yeah.
So maybe when I watch it again, like you said, it might become more apparent to me. But I think I just assumed anything that was going really, really well was in his head.
Yeah.
In the end, that's how I was like establishing it.
Although that wasn't really going too well, was it? Because she's not like that interested in him, and he's kind of like being over exaggerating with, "Oh, look at me book of signatures" and all that stuff, and even that guy in the background was like mocking him, wasn't it? Because again, he's been still waving his arms around and stuff like that.
It's a bit too much, isn't it? Bless him.
Yeah.
So there was a part where I liked the camera angles in some of this. There was quite good camera tricks with it and the way that they did certain angles. So there was one where...
going into where he works.
I think it must have been because he was trying to brag, wasn't he? That's why he used somebody else's phone.
They're like, "Oh, hey, Jerry."
But it was clever the way that they had a mirror that was behind this lady. So you could... the camera was shot at the back of Rupert.
Yeah.
So you could see the back of him, but at the same time you could see the front of him. And you could see the lady's reaction. So you had like kind of somewhat a 360 view of it all, which I quite liked, the angle. There was another angle of where I think he was with Jerry and he sat in a chair.
Yes, I know what you mean. It's kind of like he was sort of towering over him, Jerry was, but he was kind of like a little, so as if like in looking up to him, like he's like some sort of deity or something.
Yeah. And Jerry looking down on him. Yeah, exactly. It's quite clever.
Yeah.
The way that they did certain things, which I enjoy kind of seeing.
Yeah. So even in his delusions, he's still
idolising him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking up.
Yeah, looking up at him.
So we figure out that, like you said, Rupert is actually friends with this crazy woman, she's called Marsha.
Yeah.
And you said, like, obviously she's helping him out.
Yeah, because she wants to get close to him as well. Obviously for different reasons, really.
Yeah, really for disturbing reasons.
Yeah.
So he does then kind of go to the office, doesn't he, to try... Well, he rings up a couple of times, he doesn't get through. He stays at that pay phone.
Yeah, that must have been ball like to have to do that. Imagine having to do that these days, to make a phone call, you have to go to a pay phone and have to...
And then wait for a reply. Yeah. And then obviously people are going to get a bit frustrated. He then...
Yeah, he makes his way into the office for an appointment.
Yeah, which he doesn't have.
Yeah.
And then obviously he meets this lady who just constantly fobs him off, which says for him to do his own kind of tape so that he can hand it over.
Which you would have thought he would have logically have to do that to prove anyway. Not just, you can't just be like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, I haven't seen any of you
work or anything. No.
Or heard any of your stuff. I'll just let you on. Yeah.
Yeah, just have you, yeah, because you just seem nice enough.
That's like me going for a job interview and prove that you draw and not show anything. Oh, you're sure? Yeah, you got the job.
Yeah, just on
just
your
because
word.
you said you have. Yeah.
Anyone could do that, couldn't they? So there was a part where he does have like this downstairs area in basement.
Mum's basement, I presume. Yeah.
And he obviously has cardboard cutouts of Jerry and this other.
Yeah, I don't know.
Woman.
It's just like he's in like a talk show. Yeah.
And
he lives out his delusions there. So.
Pretty much. He does also do the tape recording down there, where his mum's shouting down at him and disturbing him, when it's like one of those really, really old tape deck things, which like you can't. I don't think you can go.
What rewind you mean?
Yeah.
You might be able to. I bet it would be really tricky if you.
And then pausing and then
press and record.
And then the tape inside obviously can always get skew whiffed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all that, and then there's a piece where you pointed out, which was definitely like the Joker, where the bit where he's kind of doing like his comedy spiel, and in his head he's seeing all this crowd of people. Yeah,
it's quite a good shot as well, where it's kind of like he's talking to a backdrop of these people, the audience laughing, and then but it's kind of like panning out to show it's like a hallway thing, as if it's like all empty and white and everything, and then like it's not the laughter that you hear is kind of laughing at him rather than not with him.
Yeah, initially it sounds like it's laughing with him, and the further and further and further away, it sounds like more picking on, kind of, a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's not realising.
Yeah.
Even though all this scenario is made up in his head, it's still, he's not realising that.
Yeah, it's almost like, oh, look at you, pathetic. Thinking that you're something that you're not. But you don't really hear what his act is at the moment. You know, what he's putting on this tape.
You don't know. So I just assume he's
material.
That's quite rubbish, really. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be anything great.
No, they save that stuff for later, obviously.
They do stretch that bit out. I have put here, which I think is quite funny, actually. It makes me laugh. I don't know why it even was in this bit, but it did make me chuckle.
What's that then?
So, the crazy lady at one point, Jerry was just walking out of the office and she just started like walking after him, like quite, and then Jerry's looking and then she's like walking after him, and then she ends up running after him and he's like proper like running away from this woman, and I just think it's quite funny. And it's like, obviously she's got serious issues.
Right, yeah.
But I was sat there like, and I think the principle was, I know it sounds horrible, if it was the other way around and it was a woman getting chased after a man, I wouldn't have really liked it. But because it was a woman chasing a man, it was like...
fangirling, yeah.
It was quite funny because, like, well, what harm is she really going to cause him? But he's seeming like this middle-aged man, kind of petrified. I know I shouldn't be so horrible because, stuff like that could happen. Yeah. But it did make me chuckle and I had to write it down.
We know he's actually... Well, he's no longer with us, but he was a comedian, I think. He's called Jerry as well. Jerry Lewis is the actor.
So not Langford?
No. So, like when he's going through the streets and stuff, it's, hey, Jerry, so the more genuine, because he was quite a popular comic and stuff like that. So it's more genuine when he's going around New York and people say, no, can I just have your autograph and all that stuff. It's more, makes it feel more authentic.
I didn't know that. So I really found the relationship between Rupert and Rita a bit strange. Obviously Rupert in his head had kind of gone a bit far with it and thought at one point he was like on the Jerry show in his head and he was getting married to her
for some reason, yeah.
Which he's only been on one date and now he's getting married in his head.
A bit very weird.
It was a bit weird, that bit of the scene. I didn't really think there was much that needed to be part of it. It probably, if it wasn't in, it wouldn't have really mattered, but I guess it's one of those, they're going back to him in his delusional state of building up this make-believe life that he wants.
Yeah.
And instead of actually trying to work hard and build the relationships up in real life, he seems to build them up in his head.
Yeah, jumping the gun and just going to the best bits, kind of.
Yeah, but then when he meets the people, then he's acting like that's already happened, because he really, really believes that what he's played out, I think he genuinely does think they're true.
You mean like, for example, where he's going to his like holiday home kind of thing?
Jerry's holiday
Yeah,
home, and he
yeah.
really thinks he's been invited there.
There, and it's like, oh, where are all the people and stuff? Yeah, you don't know whether he's actually trying to, like egging him on, like, oh, that you totally did invite me here, or he just actually
Genuinely believes it.
that this is all happening. And
I think it is that one where he does actually believe in his head it's generally all happening, and he doesn't get. And that's the kind of sad part, because they're in such a not a great life that he has to build up this make-believe life.
no, but there was parts in that where he was in the house and he was kind of like, oh, don't be going upstairs, Rita, and kind of like he was worried about, like, yeah, we aren't really supposed to be here, but playing it off that, like, we are supposed to be here. It's kind of a weird, like, flipping back and two with that.
Yeah, it's like his subconscious and his conscious are kind of playing.
Yeah. So it's about that point when he's realising that.
Obviously, Rita points out that they're not meant to be there, and I think that's when he's kind of realising he's more kind of
his idol's really not.
And he's not going to get
his
dream
Yeah.
of being able to become a comedian, be on his show, and get his big break that he thinks he deserves. And Rita's obviously now thinking he's lost the plot as well.
Yeah.
So he's actually lost both of them in the space of one day. So he kind of gets kicked out of there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then somehow teams up with Crazy Lady.
Yeah, I think they're just in cahoots with the whole thing, really, even though he doesn't want to be associated with her, because he's, again, the delusion that he thinks he's better than her, but still...
Actually, she seems to look after him a lot more than he looks after her, really.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a scene, and me and you kind of chuckled at it, where they're in the car, and they're going to chase after Jerry, kind of like driving after him, but slowly.
Yeah, they're doing like an abduct him,
and they've got these massive glasses on.
Of course,
But ridiculous.
Forgotten how big they. But I don't think I've never seen. I've seen it, like I say, I've seen it a few times, but that slipped my mind seeing those, them wearing that and thinking, geez.
They're a bit over the top, aren't they? Them glasses.
They look like you weirdly seeing, like, if it was like a sci-fi film from like that era, you'd think that's proper futuristic. Binoculars or something like that.
Yeah, well, they took up half the face, didn't they?
Yeah, on all sides, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was just like one bit, and I think anything it could stop you from getting shot or something like that, if it's like safety goggles.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
So this bit gets a little bit strange once they do kidnap Jerry. It gets a bit weird, wacky and wonderful here, and you kind of see that they both have issues. And their mental state is not very stable.
No, it's not.
So, the Crazy Lady knits Jerry a jumper. It's not even made properly. It's like half a knitted jumper.
Oh, sleeves and just the middle is not even attached.
No, it's not. And she's like, oh yeah, you look lovely in it. And she's like cooing over him, and he's like, I don't understand what she sees in him. I just don't get it. They actually do kidnap him with a toy gun. But obviously Jerry's not knowing this at this point, because no one's going to question if it's a toy gun when somebody's pointing a gun at you. Yeah. I wouldn't question it. No. You just think, well, it's a gun.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So, obviously, I think the deal is that Jerry is going to be kidnapped until he puts Rupert Pumpkin on live TV on his show.
Yes, to do his act on the Jerry Langford show.
Yeah.
Reading the cue cards and that all gets fumbled up and around.
That was quite funny, actually, because he was like, Jerry was like, that's blank, and it's upside down.
And he drops them and all that stuff inside.
So it's not really a good assassin, really, like, not assassin, is it? A good kidnapper. Hostage. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Not a really good hostage at all. It's not. I don't think he feels that threatened.
Not really, it's not that bad.
So they agree to put him on the show. They want to know what script and stuff he's kind of going to be saying. Obviously they're worried if it's going to be like a terror attack or something like that, and they're concerned of kind of putting it on live air. So they've got like a live audience that they do it till at 7:00. then I think it goes on air later on, so they can kind of vet what's been said before they actually put it
I guess so, yeah.
on air. So it's not live streaming straight away. So I think that's what the plan was, just in case anything kind of went wrong with it. So obviously while he's going to do his show, they tie poor Jerry up on a chair beforehand, and he leaves Jerry in capable hands of Crazy Lady, which them scenes are just a bit weird for my...
Bizarro.
They're a bit uncomfortable, really, aren't they? They were like... First of all, it was this like kind of somewhat young woman, not ugly, not, you know, throwing herself at this middle-aged man, and it's like, and this middle-aged man's not wanting anything. I'm thinking, you'd be lucky.
But if it's down to acting like that, that's a real turn off for anybody. Nobody's going to be wanting somebody who's acting like
yelling at
crazy
him and
stuff.
pointing a gun still at him while trying to have dinner with him, and he can't eat anyways. So
yeah,
and she's just quite like there's a part where she bought some crystal
glass or
glasses
something. Yeah,
and she starts chucking them. I'm thinking they must have cost a fortune. Why are you slinging them across your living room?
just cuckoo bananas.
Pretty much. Obviously, I think it gets to a point with the Crazy Lady where she knocks the food off the table. She starts getting herself undressed and...
Yeah, thinking it's like being all sexy and stuff.
And romantic, and he's just...
still sat on the chair tied up, so it's like, what can you do?
He can't really do anything. Yeah. And obviously Rupert is going to get his big moment. You do see him on the stage, but this was a bit of a strange kind of part where I was like, well, am I not going to get to see his act?
Yeah, you see him come out on stage, starting his act. Then it cuts back to
Crazy Lady.
Yeah.
It kind of flips between the two parts of the story.
Yeah.
And then you only actually kind of see it when he goes into the pub that Rita is the bar lady for.
Yeah, because at this point, obviously the cops are involved now. They know what's going on. So, but he's made aware that after all this is done, that he's going to be taken away. So they have to escort him to the bar because he says, like, I want to show Rita that, look, I'm on TV and I've done my act.
Yeah.
There it is. Now, obviously he does this act, and what did you think of the material that he had?
I did really think his material was going to be...
Got no laughs.
No laughs, and it was going to be just a bomb. But actually, he did do quite well with the audience. Obviously, some of it, like I've got Jerry Lanford taped up and stuff.
Yeah.
You just assume that that's a joke when actually it was a bit of a kind of sore spot, because obviously we knew that he actually did, so that wasn't really laughable. But the other parts, he seemed to actually just rip himself a bit, actually.
That's what I think you have to do as a comedian.
Yeah.
As part of your act.
But it was actually, he was quite good, and surprised me how well the audience took to him, because I thought he was going to be like a big flop, to be fair.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because as I see it, because it does, after that happens, and the film carries on. Now, not to slag Mr. Scorsese off or anything, but if it was up to me, I probably would have ended the film there. After, like, showing his actual performance, and do like a fade out and then credits roll kind of thing.
But I'd have hated that.
Because then it will sort of leave the interpretation, like, that was his break, and then...
Would he have got laughs or anything like that?
No, that whole section would have played out. It wouldn't just be like cut out and like you said before, where it's just that, hi, my name is...
Right.
All that stuff.
So he still would get the laughs.
Yeah. So the whole act, his whole bit would play out, and then like when he says, "Oh, thank you very much," and I'll go now, and then fade out. That's how I would end it, and then that's left to you.
Oh no,
Interpretation as to
what
whether after that what happens after that is thing. But I think that would be a bit more poetic to the end of the story.
Well, I think either story that like the ending that we do have, and your ending either one would have kind of... I wasn't really truly happy with the endings.
Right.
Yours would annoy me because I have to make up my own mind. When you know me, I don't like a story when it's not finished. But
Jerry does get out at this point anyway. He sees on the TV once he breaks out from Marsh's, because he says like, "Oh, okay, untie me." Thinking she's gonna get some. And proper bitch slaps her.
He does, yeah. And then she's running after him naked down the street, in her underwear.
Yeah.
After him, and it was like, seriously, love, you look
Yeah.
so desperate now.
Yeah.
You need to just pack it in. He don't want you, just let it lie.
Yeah, and then Rupert's getting now taken away by the cops now.
Into prison, yeah, because of what he's done.
Yeah.
So, the ending is very bizarre, and I don't think it shows you the morals.
No. It is maybe a case of, because you said you weren't sure whether this is all in his head again, which could very well could be, actually, thinking about it, really. All the delusions of, again, keep going with he's got a book out, he's in all the magazines, a film's going to be made about him, and then he's got his own show, and
the principle of it, really, it's like, I don't think, I know the UK, if there's something like that happened in the UK, and somebody had done all this to one person, we wouldn't then want a book on him, we wouldn't want...
No.
We wouldn't... We like an underdog, but we don't like it when they've gone the wrong way about it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We wouldn't be putting money into them, really. So it's like, you have to work hard for a living here. It's a case of we like a good story of where somebody's had to graft for it.
Actual inspirational story, not somebody abducted someone and therefore let's
They're
praise them
famous.
for doing that.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't slide here at all. And it's like, so for me, it's a case of actually, for what he's done.
Yeah, if
that is the case,
happened to these, this is undeserving.
Yeah, it is, and it is a bit frustrating if that's how it would happen. I'd like to think actually in the end it is in his head, and he's hoping that it's...
Yeah, because noticing this time the fact that the very last bit where he's got his he's on his TV show and he's going to the audience and it's kind of keeps saying, "Give it up for Rupert Pupkin."
Yeah.
And all that stuff, and he keeps saying it like, yeah, Rupert Pupkin, everybody, and it's like, yeah, he keeps clapping and stuff. It's like that kind of like, they wouldn't keep saying that over and over and over again, would you? So it's
like he's kind of trying to get it into his head that
he has made it success. He's done this one bit, and therefore he's now got.
Like, no way would he have done one thing and then be that famous.
Yeah.
But there was a line, wasn't there, that makes you think maybe it is all in his head.
Yeah.
Which
it is.
So, king for a night, then a schmuck for a lifetime.
Yeah, I'd rather be a king for a night
than a schmuck
for a lifetime.
But actually, he's just a schmuck, isn't he, really?
Yeah, when all's said and done.
But he did have his one night of king.
One night of being a king of comedy.
He did have that. He did get what he wanted. But was it the right way of doing it? No. So that's another thing.
So the moral of the story is don't kidnap people. Just in the vain hope that you'll get on a TV show or whatever.
Like, I know everyone does things for a reason. Like, the Joker, obviously, in the end, I felt so sorry for the Joker. Like, it was everything that he did do to people, it had justice. In a sense, it was like, yeah, okay, you've had such a rubbish life. These people have checked you.
You've been not condoning his actions in a...
Somewhat. Like...
But, yeah...
Understanding why.
Because proper downtrodden and stuff, but not saying that's, oh yes, you should do that. Just because you've had a hard life, you should go around shooting people and causing chaos.
No, but you understood where it came
from. Yeah, see, he's just... Whereas Rupert's more of a... He's not destined to be...
But anyone could do that. But... So, like, for example, let's say you never got into drawing or animating, and then you find this person who works for Disney, so you kidnap them. You know, it's... Anyone could do that, but it's not going to get you anywhere in life, is it? It's like the same with the Joker, obviously. Shooting and harming people is not going to get you anywhere, but you can see what sometimes can drive if you've had such a bad life of being trodden on.
Yeah.
Like, in the end, I did want to cry for the Joker. I could see... It, like, yeah, I can see where he's got to such a dark place to get to that point. And I actually felt for him.
Right.
Which is weird, because I didn't think I would have felt that way, because he's like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Wanting to kill everybody, But
do you feel the same remorse for Rupert?
No.
No.
Not as much, no.
No. Despite the fact it was more light-hearted.
I think it was because it's more greed. It came from a greed perspective.
Yeah, like I say, his arrogance and
whereas obviously
delusion.
the Joker was from hurt. It was because he'd been hurt and nobody was there for him. Whereas I think, yeah, Rupert he wanted to be famous. It was greed. It was money orientated. It was selfish.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Did I gel with Rupert as a character? Not really. I think he'd have grated on my nerves if I'd have met him in real life. He doesn't stop talking. And he's just one of those like show-offy people, but got nothing to show.
He's just got that whole personality of just thinking he's got more to offer than he actually has, and
he actually's got nothing value added.
He can talk a big game, but
he's just a 35-year-old or however old he is living in his mum's basement and not done anything with his life. Pretty much he's a bum.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think for me, for this film, I did enjoy it. Just flit a little bit and get your brain questioning what is real and what isn't real. I do like that. I think that's when it's a lengthy film. I need something like that to keep me intrigued, or I'm going to kind of flit away a little bit with it. It's like when we watched Shutter Island, because it gripped me.
Yeah.
I didn't care. It didn't feel like it was that much long of a film. Even like Pulp Fiction didn't feel too long.
Yeah, those are both quite long films, but this one's about near enough 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like it dragged.
No. It didn't, because it's got a good storyline and it's flitting, and it's not flitting to a point of too much confusion.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's hardly anything. It's fairly linear with its structure, but there's just the odd occasion where there's these imaginary scenarios that he's conjuring up, but you can sort of tell when those are happening and when they aren't. But I know some are, like you say, are a bit more difficult to decipher than others. But we're going to go to your scoring?
So it's tricky, because I kind of, by scoring, the film itself I really enjoyed. The characters there was not really a knockout character for me.
No.
I couldn't really relate to one, so to speak.
But the performance of De Niro,
you
enjoyed. You portrayed it well as a kind of like a kooky character who's trying to get somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think the acting was good, and obviously even the crazy lady was well portrayed, and so
that's super intense. Yeah.
Yeah, she was. She needed to calm down, really, didn't she?
Yeah.
But just not from a likeable perspective, really.
Right. Okay.
You wouldn't want to be friends with any of them, really, would you?
No.
Like, you wouldn't want the crazy lady, nor would you want Rupert or Jerry.
Whose life, to be honest, when you see him, it doesn't look that great, does it? Because he's always constantly getting harassed, as I say. And he's kind of lonely in his apartment or wherever he is.
It shows that money doesn't...
Yeah, it doesn't make you happy, I guess.
It's nice when you've got family and friends and loved ones, and you've got that, but if you've not just fame and money, and you haven't got any family or loved ones, then...
Just Rupert's really striving for something that's just going to be inherently just sad and lonely anyway, but...
Yeah, but he'll have his fans, so he'll feel like he's on top of the world in his head.
Yeah.
So I know as well with the Joker, we didn't actually do a review on that. But obviously with you pointing that out to me, and obviously fair enough that they have taken quite a bit of the inspiration from this film for the Joker. I still think the Joker is a knockout film in comparisons to this one, personally, from my opinion. Okay. I think for me to feel remorse for the Joker, and for me to actually think, the Joker got really, really bad issues, mental health issues, and but I do feel so sorry for him and the life he's led.
Right.
And it's a case of, I didn't get that remorse or sorrow because it's more light-hearted. So to compare the two, I'd probably be saying for this one maybe a 7.5.
Right, okay.
Just for the likeliness of the characters as well, because I know I get attached to a character in a film. That's one of my main parts.
Okay.
And I think as well, the other parts that I would have enjoyed is more the camera angles and the flitting of the story than actually the characters as a whole. So I enjoyed more the story behind it, more the way that they were portraying it within it and the flitting of the different scenes and if it's in his head or not. It's more like more your mental state.
Yeah.
Which I quite enjoyed, but didn't actually have any connection to any characters. Let's say if one of them died.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I won't feel anything for him.
Right.
If I'm honest.
Just quickly, did you feel anything when people died in The Joker?
I felt sorry when the Joker did get hurt.
Right, but none of the other characters who...
When the Joker killed characters, in my head it was like, good on you.
Right, okay.
They deserved it. They've given you hell. I understand how you could get to that state, I guess.
Okay. And
I did actually feel like the Joker had a right to do what he did. Obviously, with everything he'd gone through, I could understand it. And it was like, I actually wanted to cry for him at one point, seeing how much crap he'd had in his life. It was like, I'd give the Joker a 9.
I think by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right, okay. I'm giving this King of Comedy an 8.
Oh, okay, so we're not far removed.
No.
Yeah, so that makes me feel better.
Yeah. Not strongly struck off as being... It's a good film, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. No more I've seen it now. Third, fourth time, I think, maybe now, seeing this. And it's... I do like how he develops as a character, and starting from bottom, because he's that's how the story goes. Really, he's practically on the bottom, but now as the story goes on, he does sort of slightly work his way up the top.
The wrong way yeah,
topsy turvy, and just the whole mannerisms that he has and everything, and it's just he does a really good performance.
That was really surprised me. The performance did, and he's quite charismatic as well. Actually, to say he's got these issues, can portray himself quite well, like he's normal. Yeah. Whatever normal is.
Yeah, well, I do feel a bit sorry for initially when it's kind of like he's really trying, but it's just when he gets to the point where it's like, come on, just let it go now. It's not going to happen for you, and then it gets, like I say, when
goes
you go
too far
with it.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if it's not going to happen for him, he could try and persist and grow on his talent and carry on doing it.
But we know that wouldn't make a great story if that was the case. But
no, true. But it's not a great moral of the story of kidnap somebody to further yourself in your life. You shouldn't really be.
But that's what makes it a dark comedy, doesn't it? Kind of like
I
going
guess
that way.
You shouldn't really kind of step on people to get further in life. I know people do it, but it's
still
you're going to be a lonely life ahead of you if you do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Can I ask what you would score the Joker then? Obviously.
Probably score it. I think I need to see it again. Definitely.
I would love to see it again.
Because I know when we saw it we went to London, and it wasn't.
The tickets cost a fortune.
Oof, God, that was that.
You can tell we're from
Yorkshire. Up north where it's nice and cheap. Oh God, they were expensive. They cried.
It wasn't even like we can get like leather seats and everything up here, and you can recline, and like the seats were not even that great, were they?
No, they weren't. But anyway, I
got a numb bum after.
Yeah, still enjoyed it though. But I think I'll put it as maybe a 9 as well for this thing, because I did really enjoy the story and everything, and all the characterisation of everything, and all the hardships, and the music as well. And that was really
the
good.
Music was good.
The score was brilliant, but I think at some point we can get on 4K or something and rewatch. I think that'd be good to do in the future. So
I really did actually enjoy this, but I think I enjoyed it more to compare. I might rewatch it, but I don't think I want to rewatch it anytime soon.
Right.
Because the character just grated on my nerves a little.
Okay.
You know what it's like if I don't gel with a character, I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah, I know you're very character driven.
I am. It's just the way I am in life. If it's just who I am, it's like that. That is the main thing. If I'm not gonna like the person, then I'm not really gonna like the film because it's just gonna agitate me all the way through.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on this one.
Yep, thank you very much for listening. Feel free to check out our other episodes on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, wherever else you might get your podcasts from. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter under the handle SP Film Viewers.
Please also like, share and comment.
So, thank you once again, and we'll speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time. Take care.
Take care now. Bye.
Bye.